there's a limited amount of guilt and shame in the world. And those people who have like no shame, not even healthy shame, not even guilt for hurting others, or shame for being so much all about themselves, publicly, even in front of others, and always trying to get what they can out of others, but they feel no shame for doing that. That's because they transfer their guilt and shame over to us tender souls who are always overthinking everything we do, wondering if we came from the right place or not, questioning our own motives, questioning our integrity, and always trying to do our best. We have to live with an undue burden of guilt and shame from those people who feel none at all, not even healthy shame. That is a really interesting message that I got from one of my clients today. And while it's probably not how it works metaphysically, it's probably not metaphysically true that there's a limited amount of shame and the guilt in the universe, and we're getting someone else's share, it does speak to a deeper point, which is that when we grow up, for example, with a narcissistic parent, or with caregivers that are very demanding and don't know how to meet our needs, or don't care to meet our needs properly, we can often learn to become highly attuned to how our behavior affects others. And in some way, we're constantly overthinking, have I done this right? Have I done that wrong? Because we could get in trouble for that. By becoming highly attuned to the emotional effects of our actions on our inadequate, sometimes even narcissistic caregivers, that's how we defend ourselves from getting into even worse trouble than we would if we weren't highly attuned to them. So we begin to spot the early warning signs and change our behavior. Now, that's okay so far as it goes to survive childhood, but when we get to be adults, which we all inevitably do, sadly, sometimes I think, well, that just depends on how good you've managed to make your adulthood and how good you've overcome your childhood wounds. One thing that would stop you is that inability to put aside criticizing yourself, to have a, let's say, more reasonable assessment and turn your inner critic into a coach that gives you helpful advice and draws from your own experience on how to navigate future situations in a better way without making you feel really, really terrible by making you feel guilty and ashamed. Continuing that pattern of behavior also leaves you open to attracting people in your life who treat you just as badly as your caregivers did when you were young, which is why people keep on getting into dysfunctional relationships similar to their old ones over and over again, because their dysfunctional partner speaks to them in a nasty way that somehow mirrors some part of themselves which criticizes them, makes them feel guilty, makes them feel ashamed. It's camouflaged. If you weren't like that to yourself, you'd notice that dysfunctional behavior was dysfunctional, and you'd say, bye-bye, see you later. So, in some kind of way, you could say the part of you that guilts and shames you is there to protect you, but from being guilt and shamed by someone else outside who's going to attack you. But it's probably run out of control. So what are you going to do to change it now? You can see me, beyourselfandloveit.com.